Y'all, I have a really, really special video tonight, and I'm going to be sharing a story that is very near and dear to my heart. And I want to spotlight someone who has really impacted my life for Christ in a very meaningful and real way. And I decided that I shouldn't record it in the basement like I usually do the rest of my videos. I thought I'd come out here to the park that's about half a mile from our house. And it has been so many months since I've been here. I've missed this place, and it's so peaceful. And I feel the presence of the Lord very strongly here. But my goal for this video tonight is to ramble as the bare minimum, to ramble the bare minimum. I'm going to try to control my yap because, as most of you all know who watch my videos regularly, I have a very strong tendency to go on and on further than I should. So this is a story about what happened to me this past Sunday, and something that I've never experienced quite like it before, and it's something that only God could have orchestrated and done. And I want to share with you all. I want to share some pictures of it. I want to share a video of it. And I hope that it somehow blesses you all as much as it did me. I think one of the big purposes of this video is I want to recount the story and share it while it's still so heavy and burning on my heart, and I'm so blessed by it. And I want to always remember this feeling and remember exactly how everything that happened made me feel. And so that's why I came out here to a very special spot to talk about it and to tell you guys about it. So first of all, the reason why I haven't been making videos is because we were out of town over the weekend, and it was the best time, truly the best time. We got to spend some time with some dear friends of ours on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I can't even tell you all how good it was, how edifying. I love you guys so much. If you're watching this video, you know who you are, and I was so thankful for our time together. But this video is mainly to talk about the events that happened on Sunday. And before I tell you all exactly what happened, I want to give a little context on the surrounding things that kind of made it all fall into place. And I'm going to start back when I was 15 years old. And this video is going to be a little bit more vulnerable than my other videos, and I'm really going to go into detail on some stuff that happened to me. And I guess this is more of an online journal than anything else. So if it is something that makes you all uncomfortable or you just don't care, I completely understand. You can click off this video. It doesn't hurt me in the least, but I have to get this off my heart. When I was growing up, I had a very, very strained relationship with my grandmother. I loved her. I still love her dearly. She was one of the most godly, wonderful women I've ever known. But as a result of that godliness and that passion she had for the Lord, there was so much pressure that was put on me, even up to the point that she passed away, and I was only 12 when she passed away. And there was just such a massive amount of pressure to be this person that was well beyond my years, and I wanted to be that person for her. I wanted to be more like Jesus. I wanted to be the perfect Christian, and I never felt like I attained it, at least not in her lifetime. As I said, she passed away when I was around 12. And after she passed away, a few years after that, we were driving through a town that was near us at the time when we were still living in South Carolina. And I'll never forget that we stopped at an intersection and we had Christian radio on. And I heard a song for the first time that would absolutely change my life forever. And that song was I'm Not Who I Was by Brandon Heath. And if you all have never heard that song, I encourage you to click off this video and go listen to it right now. But that song literally changed my life. I felt like I could have written it about several people, but especially about my grandmother, and how I wanted to be this person for her that I never felt like I was able to be and never was able to attain until I got a little bit older and matured a bit more. And when I heard this song, I don't think I've ever connected so deeply to a song in my entire life as I did to that particular song. And as a result of hearing that song and listening to it over and over and over, I started to look into Brandon Heath's other songs and his other musical library. And I found a the only way I really know to describe it is I found someone who I could only describe the way I related to his music on a spiritual level. I felt like I could have written most of the songs that Brandon has written. And there are no words to describe how much his music has helped me through the years. So fast forward to Sunday afternoon. We found out that Brandon was going to be performing at the Cove in Asheville. And I've always wanted to visit the Cove because Billy Graham is one of the biggest heroes of my faith, as I'm sure he is for many of you all watching right now. And it is just the most special, incredible place that I can't even properly describe it to you all. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So we found out that Brandon was going to be performing at the Cove on Sunday, and I told mom and dad, I was like, I have to go. I have to experience this. I just want to hear his music in person. We had heard him in person one other time, and it was equally amazing. But I just felt the need and urge to go to this particular concert, and my hope and prayer was that I would be able to speak with Brandon after the concert during the meet and greet. And I just wanted to share with him. I knew I wouldn't have very much time because when you're in a line, an autograph line, you all know how it is if you've ever been in one. You feel kind of the urge to move on and make sure that the person behind you gets time. It's only being courteous. So long story short, we got to the grounds, and I was absolutely amazed that as soon as we drove in, I felt the peace and presence of the Lord so incredibly strongly. And I can't even describe it to you all. You can sense the prayers that Billy and Ruth have prayed over that place, and they still linger there. And it's a very powerful place, and I could see why so many people desire to go there and to do Bible training and to attempt to draw closer to the Lord. It's an amazing, amazing place. So we got there and we met a really sweet couple who walked us in, and they're an older couple, and they kind of showed us around, and they were just the best. And while we were speaking with them, Dad had to, for lack of a better term, he had to go to the restroom. I couldn't think of a better way to put it, but so he had to kind of break up the conversation while Mom and I continued speaking with this lovely couple. And when he came out of the restroom, he realized that he was in the restroom that was the closest to the auditorium where Brandon was going to be performing. And he looked through the glass doors, and lo and behold, Brandon must have, I assume, was doing a sound check or a rehearsal of some kind. And Dad was like, oh my gosh, that is really cool. So he waved me, he motioned for me to come over. And there's no way for me to properly describe going into this and just the level of blessing that I've received from Brandon's music. I wish I really could. And I will tell one more story before proceeding. Back in 2023, I was going through one of the darkest periods and seasons of my entire life. I felt completely hopeless. I was having very dark thoughts about not wanting to go on anymore and feeling just so completely hopeless. And one of the songs that the Lord used to get me through that entire season was See Me Through It. And that's another one that I encourage you all to just stop this video and go listen to it if you've never heard it before. And I'm going to link any songs that I mentioned in the comments section below. But that song helped me to get through one of the darkest periods in my entire life. And it's amazing, at the end of that year, of that particular Spotify year, that when we get our Spotify Wrapped statistics, Brandon was my #1 artist, and I had listened to him for nearly 1,000 minutes. And that should give you kind of a good idea of how much his music has meant and how much I've listened to it legitimately. And when Dad motioned me over, I felt this wave of that come over me. And I was thinking about all that, and all I wanted to do with Dad, because I was hoping and praying that we would have the opportunity to meet Brandon that evening after the concert. And all I was wanting to do, and this is all that Dad was wanting to do, was to wave at Brandon and just, smile and just basically, just say hello from a distance. And I I was in my mind I was thinking, well, he probably won't even look over because he was in the middle of doing a sound check. And Dad and I stood there for a few moments and we were just watching it happen. It was just cool to see, kind of the behind the scenes for a second. And as we were standing there, we hadn't been standing there for more than 20 seconds. Brandon took off his guitar and took it over to this table area. And it just so happened that he was facing us at the time. And when he looked up, we waved and figured that he would just wave back. And I don't want to get emotional in this video, you all, but it's hard to describe how much this entire thing meant to me. When Brandon saw us, he immediately, without hesitation, just walked over to the glass doors and opened them and introduced himself to us. And in that moment, I feel like I almost glazed over because I could not find the words. I so desperately wanted to find the words to describe and explain to him how much his music has meant to me and how it's changed my life and how it has in many ways shaped my identity. What my second favorite album by Brandon is called Enough Already. And the namesake song of the album, Enough Already, it helped me in ways that I can't describe as I dealt with so many things that were going on internally that I felt so unworthy and so completely undeserving of the love of God. And that song helped me to better understand the love of God and how much he really did love me. And it wasn't because of anything I did, and I had never understood it in that way, at least to that degree, until I listened to that entire album, and it helped me so much. And I'll share one last story before I tell you all exactly what happened with Brandon. But Brandon also released a new album somewhat recently. It was called The Ache. And one of the songs on the album is called Scars. And as many of you all know and see in my videos, I have rosacea and very severe rosacea. And one line in that song helped me more than any other thing that I've heard with this particular issue that I have. And that line was, if I'm not gonna lose it, promise me you'll use it. And sorry y'all, I was trying so hard not to get emotional, but I think of that song so often. And at the very end of the chorus, it says, talking about Jesus, even you had scars that never went away. And for me, those particular scars are my rosacea. And as a result of that, I've had to deal a lot with feelings of self-hatred and feelings of just not understanding why God wouldn't heal and different things that I've struggled with. But that song has helped me so much. So going into this moment when I get to meet Brandon face to face was, I can't properly describe it. So much of that all rushed in at the same time, and I wanted to tell him everything, but I also didn't want to, inconvenience him as he was getting ready for the concert that night. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't hold him up. But he was so incredibly gracious. And they say that you should never meet your heroes, but I can tell you that, at least in this instance, I'm so glad that I did. I was able to tell him in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to that evening in an autograph line, how much his music has impacted my life and how I've been listening to him since I was 15, and how I wouldn't be the same person I am today in Christ if it weren't for his music. And I somehow managed to make it through without getting too emotional, I guess because just of the high of that moment of being able to actually meet him and meet this person who had impacted my life so incredibly much for my walk with Christ, for my journey with the Lord. And I was able to share this with him, and he could not have been any more gracious. And I want to mention, before I go any further, if you're ever in a situation like this, please don't do what we did. At least we weren't trying to do. Please don't bother the artist or musician or person that you're looking forward to meeting, in the way we did, because he was trying to practice and rehearse for that evening, and we just basically completely distracted him from it. Do as I say, not as I do, because I did not mean to inconvenience him. And I was so afraid that he may have felt like we were, but he couldn't have been any more gracious and kind than he was. And I was so floored by his humility and his kindness to us. And it just meant the world to me to be able to express to him, at least in some small way, how much his music had changed my life. And I'm going to be posting the picture, but I asked for a picture with him, and he was so gracious, and he instantly did. And he was talking with me and Mom and Dad, and he just couldn't have been any more kind. Long story short, we went about our day, and I went down to the bookstore after we ate, which was the most amazing dinner ever at the Cove. That place is just incredible. If you all have never been, please go. If you have the means and time to do so, it will change your life. But we went down to the bookstore and just had the best experience. I met a great new friend down there, and I bought my favorite album of Brandon, the vinyl of it, Blue Mountain. And I could go on an entire hour talking about that album, but I'm especially Diamond. I absolutely adore that song, and I feel like it's my theme song in many ways. Long story short, we get to the concert, and we're sitting there enjoying it so much, so incredibly much. And as I was sitting there, something that had crossed through my mind is I thought to myself, boy, I really hope that I didn't inconvenience Brandon when we were able to speak with him earlier and kind of interrupted him from the sound check or rehearsal or whatever it was, and I was feeling guilty about it. And while I was thinking about that, I was doing as I always do at concerts. I always record the first 10 or so seconds of each song, or at least the first few seconds before the next song, because I always hope that it's going to be one that I really enjoy and I want to have a personal recording of it. And as I was doing that, I believe it was the second or third song in, this happened.
I was here earlier today. Where's Zach Smith at?
Woo!
Zach.
Right here!
There you are, my biggest fan up there, guys.
Yeah!
So Zach stopped me. He said, I've been listening to you since I was 15 years old. And he's 17 now, so. He better not be 17. He's got like a full mustache and a long mane of hair. Anyways, Zach, I'm going to sing your song for you. The one that he stopped me today and said, you have a song that really helped me through a hard time a few years ago. And so I'm going to sing that for you right now, buddy. This is for you.
Thank you.
Things are getting real. Jesus, take the wheel. Only way I'm getting to the other side. Days are getting dark. Life's a little hard. Finding but I'm trying not to lose sight. I don't got this. I know you got this. Yeah. I know you're gonna see me through it.
Woo! Thank you, Brandon. I still get emotional just thinking about it. I really can't describe what it meant for someone who the Lord has used so mightily to help me grow in Him and to help me grow deeper in His Word and in His love, to actually hear that person sing a song that the Lord used in that way, almost as though it were directly to me. It was a moment that I will never ever forget and will forever cherish. And just having it almost felt like a full circle moment where the song had helped me so much in so many ways, and to hear the person who released it to sing it right in front of me practically, I can't properly describe it. And the whole rest of the concert, I just felt I was in this kind of moment of unbelief, like it didn't feel real. And I know to some people that this may not have been a big deal or whatever, but to me it was a huge deal. And I hope that, Brandon, if you do somehow see this video, I hope you know the impact that you've made for Christ on so many lives. And in that moment in my life in particular, there are no words that I can properly thank you and let you know how much I appreciate what you did. It meant so incredibly much to me, and you are one of the heroes of my faith. And I know we're not supposed to idolize any human being. We're only supposed to glorify our Lord in heaven. And I'm not doing that in any way. At least I don't mean to. And I know that Brandon is just as flawed and normal of a person as any of the rest of us. But just to be able to hear the person who God had so mightily used in my life personally, to sing a song that God had used so mightily in my life, it was an experience like I can't properly describe. And at the end of the concert, we went down to the meet and greet, and I got to give Brandon a hug and thank him for what he had done. And I still felt like I couldn't properly describe it or get it out to him how much it meant what he did. So that's why I'm making this video tonight, and to just share it with you all and to keep it as a kind of almost like an Ebenezer stone in my life, because the Lord knew I needed this entire thing to happen at the time it did. I will never forget Sunday night. It will always be a core memory in my mind, and I'm so thankful for men and women of God like Brandon who take time away from their families to go and do these concerts and just attempt to encourage others in the Lord with their gift. And man, what a gift that Brandon has in both songwriting and just pure raw talent. His voice, his ability to play guitar. He's just a very special person, and I'm so thankful for him and for how God used him. And again, Brandon, if you see this video, thank you. The Lord only knows how much I appreciate what you did and how much it impacted my life. I hope you all have been able to get through my ramblings and my just kind of thoughts all over the place, but I wanted to share this with you all because it meant so much to me, and it just made such a profound impact on me. So I hope that it was a blessing in some small way to you all. And if you all enjoy this content, I'm going to be getting back into my regularly scheduled programming, I guess you could say. I'm going to be getting back into my workout content and reading through My Utmost for His Highest and doing my nightly videos. But this is why I've been away, and I just wanted to share with you all the amazing thing that God did. And all I can say is, God bless Brandon Heath and his ministry. May the Lord prosper and favor it like never before, because he is reaching so many people, and he's reaching them in a meaningful way. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for bearing through my ramblings and watching this video. You all mean the world to me, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. And Lord's willing, I will see you in the next video. God bless you all.